Frankly, give a damn. You know what it is, man. Listen, first of all, you've been slow, but we glad you catching up. We at the Studio Gateway. If you need to record, stop fronting and being slow. Come on through. The Gateway got what you need. I got the link below. Come holla at that. But listen, y'all know this man's work. You know who this man is. If you've been in the DMV, you know what it is with him. If you've seen the squiggle swirls, if you've seen the hearts, if you've seen the pastels, you know my man. And he definitely makes sure the community is fed as well and teaching children how to do art. This man is dynamic. I love this guy right here. He's popping. And it's awesome to have a DMV legend. I got my man Luther Wright in the building.
What's up,
man?
Good to see you.
You too, my brother.
Always.
Man, we had to get you in here because first of all, you know, for me it's dope because I'm gonna keep it real with you, right? I always say this to people: artists, y'all get on my nerves, man. Artists, y'all get on my nerves.
Hey,
why am I saying this? Because Luther, on some real, like, first of all, what thing? I could talk to you. I could talk to you.
Yes, sir.
You and I both know there's art and then there's business.
Yes.
You do business with art simultaneously, bro. Yes. You have a team. You run your situations. You be having staff, projects, locations. I could go down the list of all the business acumen you add to the fact that you still stay creatively sound, bro.
Yes, sir.
If I never told you, I appreciate watching you get down like this.
Nah, thank you, man. Like,
and I'm
definitely
dead
all
serious.
of the DMV that make it happen, though. You know what I mean?
They
so
do.
I gotta give it credit.
But
to
we gotta
them,
give. I'm gonna give. See how humble this man. See, he's humble. But I'm gonna give you your flowers because on some real, there's so many artists here. You know, I always say to people, you know, me being a DMV transplant from NY, it's dope that I know so many artists,
right,
and you guys have accepted me into the ecosystem. But the thing that is amazing to me is to watch the ones that know how to balance the two. Not saying it's easy. There's no easy roads in the game of entrepreneurship, especially creative entrepreneurship. But the fact that you're able to still make it move in the county, in DC, you know how to play with politics, you know how to play with the streets, you know how to get it done with the community.
Yes, sir.
And that's something that's rare for folks that are so hellish on being an artist that they didn't spend no time to understand the business of art. So when I see an artist that also handles his business, I give your respect to your face, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
And talk about that for me, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not easy to do, but when did you know to marry the two?
It's well, I went to school for business, so you know my degree is in business.
There we go.
So when I came out of college, it was more so like, what do I want to do with this art, and how can I change it to a business? I went to Howard and went to Prince George's, got an associate there.
Went to Howard?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah, you know my bison, man. I didn't even know that, Luther.
Yeah. I only did like 2 semesters there. I played soccer, so I broke my leg. After that, I was like, you know, I'd rather walk.
Yeah. Keep them legs, right?
Yeah, so, and then that kind of pushed me to the community college where I was just trying to finish up really and just get some credits under my belt, you know.
And you born and raised DMV?
Yeah, born and raised, DC General,
yeah.
So right in the city, you know, my grandparents still live on East Capitol Street.
Wow.
They all in the city still.
That's respect.
I actually use her address for some of my DC projects.
Yeah, for sure. You got,
I got a studio in the back.
Put you on game, right? That was a jewel right there.
You know, but she gave me a little space in the back. She turned a garage into an apartment, so I use it for like a little studio space sometimes. So that's how I'm able to kind of finesse the two.
So you was able to, like, from early, you was able to have an extra little spot via your grandparents to work?
Right.
Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
You know, it was like a little man cave my uncle had at first, but once they kind of moved out and everything, you know, she let us come in, and then I turned my apartment into a studio.
Okay.
So I was working for the county actually before I went full time, and when I left, you know, the county to go full time, I still had an apartment through the county. So I had that for about a year or two, and I just was doing art 24/7 in that apartment.
Wow.
You know? So that's when I did a lot of my projects. I was doing tattoos in there and everything.
Right.
And when I left that job, that's when I got the studio over here in Gateway.
Okay.
So
that's
been over there ever since. So.
That's the other thing, multidisciplinary.
Yes, sir.
Some people are just trying to do murals. Some people are just trying to do on canvas. Right. Some people just trying to do live painting. Like everybody, some people try to find niches, but some people are able to kind of figure out how to make every lane work for themselves.
Right.
How did you start, and when did you know you could excel within any realm of the business or the game of art?
I honestly started off painting live at like Busboys and Poets.
Oh, that's big.
And just got opportunities from a couple of hosts that I knew that worked there.
Right.
Then I started meeting like the open mic hosts, DJ Teo, a lot of the poets and stuff. So I was painting on a lot of the live poetry scenes at first, and then that kind of took off into painting into hip hop scenes and like the underground. So a lot of the stuff that we did early on was like underground, nightclubs, like it's dark, you could barely see.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, and then it started to transform into more formal things like weddings and stuff like that. And then it was just basically we was trying to immerse the arts anywhere we could. It didn't matter what platform it was. We was pitching live painting like, hey, this could add to the vibe of your event, you know. So that's, and at that time, the only other brother really painting live was like DeMont Pender, you know, and I know it was wild because I didn't really know him at the time, you know, and every time I would paint something, everybody like, yo, you that brother DeMont Pender? I'm like, nah, man, like, I don't even know who that is, like, you know. And then I actually filled in for him at a show one day, and my piece sold, and then he came through, and that was the first time we met, talked for a little bit, realized we had the same birthdays, everything. So we've been boys ever since then, you know. So it's just, you know, it's a small, tight-knit family around here in the DMV as far as artists and people who are leveling up or people that are taking it serious and trying to take it to the next level. I think a lot of us kind of know each other at this point, you know. Big time.
Yeah, I'm going to always give you props as well because you was doing, I don't know if other people did the podcast, but you was doing the podcast. You still do the podcast.
Right. And that started off by accident, just trying to do some promotional stuff out of my old studio, because it actually started in my old studio. And it was like, we wanted to give like the art world like a
lifestyle,
like a Tigger.
Yeah,
you remember how like in the basement kind of
feel.
feel. That's kind of how it really started. And then the more we did it, we was getting a lot of feedback from people like, "Yo, we like the content, stuff like that." So we just kind of tried to make it more professional and grow it into something else. And yeah, we still do it to this day. It's just we haven't been doing it as frequently as we had. We was doing it at least once or twice a month. Now we just a little bit more stressed out, but
for sure,
we're gonna pick it back up for y'all. So,
yeah, man, we trying to bring them over here, man. I'm on my recruitment general manager energy today.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I'm trying to recruit the game to the spot. But at what point did you realize like the element, the way you putting it together? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about number one, developing a style, a signature.
Right.
2, developing a team. 3, keeping a team, because you and I both know managing a team is sometimes harder than being the provider of the content.
That's a whole nother ball game.
You feel me? Management of people be sleeping on the management. And then after that, consistency.
Right.
There's so many levels.
I definitely gotta give a shout out to my my homeboy Charles Sanders. He that's my manager.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, so that's actually my boy. We've been boys since 10th grade. And he was there when I was just pitching the idea of doing the art company and the group, you know, as like you just kind of sharing it with your friends, like, yo, I just got my business license, yo, I'm kind of doing this now, and they like, yo, what you need? What can I do to get on? What kind of, you know? And then he kind of told me like what he could offer, you know, and he been rocking with me ever since, you know, and it's been about, I want to say 12 years now, full time, maybe 10.
Wow.
Since I left my full time job with the county. And so it started with Charles. It was just us two for a long time, and then we started to meet other artists that were kind of in the same boat we were when we started. Like we didn't know what we were doing. We were just lost, trying to find our way and trying to find our own. Because at first it was just like, you know, I didn't feel like the art world was meant for us. So it was like, I'm not trying to get into something that's already there. I'd rather create my own lane, create our own thing. You know.
When you say you didn't feel like art was meant for you, what you mean?
Because I just, you know, I've been to galleries, I've been to museums, and I just didn't see much of us. It wasn't really much representation of, I didn't see myself in there, you know what I mean? So I'm like, why keep trying to push the boundaries and make these people like our art? Let's create our own thing where we like our art, and let's push it and make other people like it and let them see the beauty within our own work, you know? So not asking for permission, but creating your own platform, you know, and doing it yourself. Like, then they got to ask you, you know. So
I like that.
That's kind of how we took it.
How quick did you get to that realization? Like, did you bump your head against the wall trying to get into galleries, and finally was like, man, I'm just tired of even asking for
I mean, you get a bunch of no's before you decide to make the yes you're on your own. You know like I said, like I can tell myself yes all day. I don't gotta. You know, so at the end of the day, if I'm telling myself yes, let me start my own gallery. Let me start my own crew. Let me start my own team. Let me start, you know. So once you start getting in that mindset of that, like anything that they do, I could do it as well. You know, and then I don't have to be that gatekeeper. You know, I'm not trying to gatekeep anything. I share information with everybody. You know,
Facts.
so it just starts to build a different dynamic within the art community around here versus the general art world. You know, so hopefully we can, you know, change the narrative when it comes to stuff like that. You know,
I love it. Yeah. I want to talk about the signature. First of all, what do you have a name for your signature that you have?
Nah, not really.
I was calling
the funny thing
squiggles.
about that is I don't even really consider it my signature style. Like I do a lot of different bodies of work.
Yeah.
And
let me
it was
rephrase,
actually
I don't mean like that's your.
Nah,
I just know when I see that joint, I know that's
Luther's
Luther's joint.
And it's because, you know, like really the community made that what it was.
Yeah.
You know, like
You turned up during the pandemic.
Yeah, I tried to get
turned it up.
You know, the funny story about that whole style of work is when I first came into the art world, I was painting live at Busboys, and of course, Busboys was one of those spots like, hey, everybody wants to get their art up at Busboys at the time, right? And Miss Carol Dyson, she kind of rejected that body of work. You know, she was like, it's kind of like has the 80s feel, it's really bright, it's da-da-da-da-da. So I had it on canvas, but it was kind of a little different. And then Charles even has some of my earlier drawings of the same pretty much style. Okay. And I kind of pivoted away from it. I started doing some other stuff, you know, because it was just like, all right, it's not strong enough to get into some of these places. And then the pandemic hit, and Miss Dyson called me and was like, hey, you mind painting? What does she do? She's the curator at Busboy, so she's the one who hangs all the art throughout the right. So I think Nefertiti actually is her assistant now. So
oh
probably
yeah,
take over for her.
Yeah.
So they actually did my last curation there. So I met with Neff and Miss Carol Dyson. But she called and was like, hey, do you guys want to paint the windows at the Busboys and Poets? Now this is during the pandemic, which everything has shut down. So as artists, we were like, what are we about to do? Because all our money was based on like face painting, sipping paints, right, basically. And this gave us the opportunity to just come out. She was like, hey, you know, we'll give you like $250. It was something really slight to just paint something on the window. So we were just like, we never painted windows. Like, what we about to do? So I called Kiana Clark, my homegirl at the time. I was like, yo, you want to paint a window? She was like, what are you talking about? I was like, come on down to Busboy, just meet me down there, man. I brought my boy CJ. He moved to Atlanta. Shout out to CJ, a cool brother. We did a lot of projects around that time too. Right. And we just painted the windows, you know. And at the time, Carol came out there and was like, hey, you guys, you know, just go have at it. So we was like, oh, we thought we could just do some slight, you know. When she said have at it, we really had at it. We went and painted the whole everything. And I painted some jazz players on there, and then I painted this other style at the time. And it was wild because we hashtagged it Paint the Storefronts, and that was kind of Andy Shalal's idea. Okay. And at the time, they was calling us to go out to other businesses because it had caught on. So other storefronts and other businesses had seen that we was doing this and was like, hey, we want ours done. So initially, Busboys and Poets was paying us to go to other people's businesses in the community. So that was kind of shout out to Busboys and Poets. They kind of were like on the forefront of that movement, right? So they were paying us to go to I would get a call. I can't even remember the lady's name right at the time. I think it was Miss Nikki, but she was giving us a call like, hey, Luther, can you go hit the such and such today? And it was giving us maybe 2 or 3 locations in a day. So when that happened, other businesses would just see us out there too on their own. So it was like now we have Busboys contacting us and then the businesses contacting us on their own. So of course, when that happened, we started to increase the fee a little bit. And then, you know, that's when it just took off. And, you know, I literally started with the heart. My first heart, it wasn't even really in that style. It kind of was. And then it kind of developed over time. And I kind of tweaked it into what it became. And then people just started calling, like, hey, can you come put the heart on my storefront? Can you come, you know, and then the heart just really is what took it off. Yeah, blue. And then after that, I just started putting the pattern within different images. And it just took off from there, man.
Man, it's still here.
Yeah, it's still here. Some of the stuff was only supposed to be up for like a couple months. Right. You know, like I know that big piece I did on U Street for the for that apartment complex. Right. They just took that down maybe like a couple months ago, but I mean, it was only supposed to be up for like 2 months, and I did that with Nefertiti and Sonia again. I was, you know, so even on those projects, I was trying to get a lot of artists that didn't have mural experience and stuff like that to come out, work on stuff with me, and they can either get that experience for themselves to take it on, or they could use that on their portfolio for experience and stuff like that, you know. But that propelled us into a whole nother category of projects, scale-wise, and then just during that pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right.
That's really when, like, I would say my public art career kind of took off.
Okay.
And, you know, right before that, we had just come from Art Basel, so it was kind of...
Facts.
Yeah, you know, so it was
Right,
we was already
right.
on a high from that, and
Of
then
course.
COVID hit, and it was like, you know, what are we going to do? So it was just, I would say it was all about timing, really, you know, bringing that style back. And then actually resonating with the community at the time.
Yeah.
And it just took off. I wasn't expecting it. I couldn't tell you how or why,
Right.
but I just rolled with it. And, you know, I stayed positive about everything at the time. And it was scary, you know, because nobody knew what COVID really was.
Facts.
You know, I had a daughter during COVID, so it was like,
That's
I was out in the
right.
streets constantly and dealing with that, too, at the same time. So it was like, you know,
that's crazy. My cousin had a COVID baby too. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of babies born during that time.
Yeah. Well, we found out right before, so I wouldn't say. But she was born during COVID. You know, it wasn't because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we was in the house. You know what I mean? Shout out to COVID sex.
Yeah.
Pause. Nah, but it's funny, man, because whether you know it or not, that symbol, specifically the heart, that's part of the fabric of the culture of the city right now.
Right.
I mean, I feel you see it everywhere, like it's all over. And then on top of that, it's something that's unique now to the town. To me, I mean, when I drive around, I'm like, oh, and you tattooed the city.
Yeah, I kind of went off for a little. I kind of fell back for a little bit in the last year or two, you know, just to let it breathe a little bit, you know. Maybe give people a chance to miss it a little bit. But,
I respect that.
And I pivoted to some different type of work right now.
Nice.
But I still drop the stuff every now and then. And,
Right.
you know, just to remind people here and there.
Man, I love the joint, man. It's funny. So, like we talked about multi-hyphenate artists and entrepreneurs. So, obviously, the last time, and for those who was not obvious for, last time me and you saw each other in a business sense, I was doing ice cream or gelato at the opening of the Largo Town Center installation, of which you had did the mural to complement the installation that the young lady did from Atlanta.
Right.
And I want people to understand, just like me and Key and another young lady I just interviewed, how we all run into each other while we working, even when we don't know we working on the same projects.
Right.
And I want people to understand that, because in the art game, regardless of your discipline, like I don't paint, I don't draw, I do culinary, and then I do stuff like media arts. But the thing is, when you working, you normally wind up in the same places.
Yep.
And people don't realize that, which is why I say I always give you respect and a lot of the other artists, because every time I see y'all, we would run each other anyway, but when we run into each other, we normally all getting a check or showcasing our situation to the world as working artists. Talk about that, man. Just, you know what I'm saying, just always knowing that within the ecosystem, you're going to run into your brothers and sisters that you know are also getting it in.
It's a blessing, you know, and it's like I said, it's really what encourages us sometimes as artists. Like we see our fellow artists doing something that's dope. We just like, yo, like, you know, we don't look at that as like, oh man, it's not a hating situation. It's it motivates us to like want to do better and go harder for ourselves. Because the way we look at it is like, anytime you do something, it opens the door for me. You know, so if you're looking at that for everybody, and like everybody's pushing the boundaries of whatever they do, the creativity, culinary, whatever, is opening doors for everybody. You know what I mean? So, and that's why we continue to run into each other in these same circles, because it's the ones that's continuing to push the boundaries of their creative side. You know, and I feel like we gonna always end up in the same room.
That's
and
a
then
fact.
The ones that keep pushing and pushing, the room gonna get smaller.
Yeah.
You know, as you go up, but you'll see who's really meant to be there at the end of the day.
That's a fact. Talk to me about tattooing. I know that's something you do as well. A lot of artists, like I said, multidisciplinary.
Yes,
like you able to squeeze in your art into so many industries. Like just being a tattoo artist alone.
Yeah, that's
is a whole
it took a time
thing.
to learn tattooing. I really got into it when I was in college, and I actually seen a documentary about Ed Harding. He was talking about how tattooing basically funded his art career. And it was
it's funny. I think people forget Ed Hardy was a tattoo artist.
And a lot of his designs basically trademark. He's making money off those to this day.
Time.
So me having a degree in like marketing and business management, like I had to do a lot of marketing projects in school too. So I was looking at how he did his marketing, how he used tattooing. I never forget when he said tattooing was the only form of art that he got paid as soon as he was done. So I was like,
that's real.
You know, so at the time, you know, my cousin was a tattoo artist. So I literally called him up and he was like, hey, I'll teach you, just get the equipment, you know.
Right.
So I went on an apprenticeship under him, and then I met a few other artists while, you know, being in the game and doing tattoo parties and getting your chops up, you know.
Right.
And from there, just you build your clientele up and you just start studying the different styles of tattooing and the different techniques. And it's just like any other form of art. It's just like spray painting. Like when I learned how to spray paint, I had to learn all the different cans, the different pressures, the different caps.
Right.
All of it is like, I would say to any artist, learning something new is always intimidating.
Facts.
You know, but if you take the time and add that to your portfolio, it opens up so many more doors for you as a creative, you know?
That's a fact.
So sometimes you got to go into your shell and just block the world out and really focus and learn something new, you know, and keep exploring, you know? Like sometimes I might mix some of my tattoo techniques into my artwork, and you know, because they all kind of counterplay on each other, you know. Like if I do a rose tattoo 1,000 times, I can spray paint a rose easy now because I'm using those same elements, you know. So you learn how to play everything. Even when I learned how to do face painting, that was just and a lot of these things have, you know, over the time, it was just knowing that I'm an artist and I have artistic ability, and then it's like, all right, well, let me give this a try because somebody else pushed me to do it. Like, and when face painting, my homegirl was having a birthday party, and she was just like, hey, you think you can face paint for my kids? And I was like, I've never done it before. She was like, if I buy you all the stuff, will you do it?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll pull up.
Right.
YouTube University, did a couple things. Then after that, I built up my own equipment, built up my own stuff. So investing in yourself as well is very important.
That's
and
huge.
I learned that from a young brother back when I had a landscaping company, and I was working with him, and I was like, oh, how do you know, invest in yourself? You have to invest in yourself.
Right.
Put more money into yourself than you put into other brands and other people and other stuff.
Facts.
If you want to get to where you want to go, you
That's
know,
a
like
fact.
we'll go and spend $200-300 on some shoes, but then won't buy business cards for ourselves or our business. You know,
Get
so
your ass some business cards, man.
you know, so like, I mean, it's just simple stuff, and then people wonder why they haven't gotten to where they need to be. It's just morals, but you got to have morals with your business and ethics, you know, and when you start applying all of those things come together a lot quicker than you would think, you know, like I always tell people, if you put 8 hours a day into your own business or yourself, what would you accomplish, you know, versus like you go to work for 8 hours and you don't even really work for 8 hours.
You don't even really work for 8 hours.
You know?
Yeah,
so,
and your boss know it.
You know? So if you really work for yourself, you know, and I guess that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. You're forced to work for yourself.
That's a fact.
And I remember me and Kiana having a conversation, and she was just like, you know, I hear some of these artists saying like, how does Luther get these things, and how does he da-da-da-da-da? And she was like, it's not that Luther gets it. He has to.
Right.
That's how he feeds his family. That's how he eats. It's not a hobby. It's not a, you know, so it's like I have to be on top of those things at all times.
Goddamn
so,
right.
you know, it's a different ball game. It's not for the weak. It's a bunch of ups and downs, but, you know, it's a middle area, too, that you can ride on once you get your balance.
Yeah, there's a bunch of chasing checks. See, they don't want to talk about accounts receivable, Luther. They only know about when you put in the invoice, but then you got to chase the joint too.
Because a lot of people just see the murals when it's done, and they like ooh and ah, but they don't know all the backstory and the, you know, the headaches that you might have had to go through. And I mean, it's been projects I just stopped dealing with the people and I let my manager do it. And that's why it's important to have a manager, because you can have that buffer zone, like, bro, I'm not talking to them no more. Like, just you handle that for me. You know what I mean? And I'll see them on site. You know what I mean? And then you can kind of like have that little buffer zone. But and I guess I developed that format too, just in business. You know, even in the music industry, you can't just call Jay-Z.
Nah.
There's levels to it, right? So if you start creating that for yourself, you know, people got to respect it, you know? So that's what I did early on. That's
a fact. Yeah, man. Shout out to Charles, man. You like the Tony Yayo to the 50 over here, dog. But we're going to put a couple extra more stank on your situation. You know what I mean? Because you ain't no hype man. Yeah. And then you talking that boss talk right now. Man said, I used to have a landscaping company. And
yeah, I was always in the business. So I think, you know, just changing that into like the creative mindset and then also applying that business side, like you said, a lot of people don't have the business and the creative side. So it's, you know, but I think as a creative, you got to realize that it's a business. Like
That's
it all
fact.
goes hand in hand, you
Right.
know. And I actually learned a good lesson. I did an art symposium with the Arts Council one year, and it was an older artist speaking, and she was, you know, it was about public art. And then she was saying, she did this one demonstration, I never forget it, and by the end, she was putting on all these different hats. And by the end, she had a construction hat all the way at the top. And she was just saying, like, as an artist, you got to wear all these different hats. You're not just the artist.
Right.
You're a designer. You're a construction worker. You're a business person. You're this, and it was like it really clicked, you know. And it was like, yo, you right, you know, like you got like even as the artist when you step in the room, like I told Charles, like I can't talk to these people here if we're the CEOs of our company. We need to be talking to the CEOs of their company. So you got to start just pushing yourself in that mindset when you the boss of your stuff.
You're the boss of your
like
stuff.
If I'm the boss of my situation, why am I not talking to the boss of this situation?
That's right.
So, you know, it's all about how you apply yourself too, and you can't say yes to everything. You gotta learn how to apply no.
Oh man, shout out to Kiana Clark, the power of no. She was on that too. See, like mines, man.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that too, Luther, because it's like as the boss, in my mind, once you have one conversation, boss to boss, then you could put your number two with the people because we already had that understanding.
Right.
Now the details get worked out with the team.
Right.
And I think a lot of times people don't understand that part. Like you don't have to be so granular once you create the foundation amongst the bosses.
Right.
You got to get the team in it. I've been talking to a lot of other artists now, and a lot of them they haven't evolved yet to understanding the value of teamwork. So they're still singular as the artist, and there's a lot of distrust of people from past situations. I try to tell people too, you can't keep bringing bad scenarios to new relationships.
Right.
If you're trying to foster a new situation here with people on your squad, stop bringing in the people that did you dirty and get this person a shot. Because if you're gonna put everybody's face or this person's face on everybody's body, you're gonna take L's with anybody, everybody anyway, because you ain't never give them a chance.
I mean, one of the key things I've learned is in order to be a good leader, you gotta learn to be a follower.
There we go.
You know, so sometimes when I put people in positions, I gotta learn to follow they. You know, because that's why I put them there. That's me trusting my leadership, right? So if I put Charles in a position and he's like, "Hey, I think we should do this," I might not agree with it, but I'm gonna try it. Yeah. And we'll see if it works, and then we'll evaluate it later. Now it might have been a good idea, it might have fell through, but you know, but that gives him that platform to be like, I have a part of this as well. You know, so you want to give your team. You want to basically, you know, let them be who they are for you. You know what I mean? Because once you let them shine and really do what they're there to do, you know, everybody wins, you know, because they're happy at doing what they're doing and it doesn't feel like, you know, a pulling for it. But sometimes you got to boss up and be like, nah, this not how it's going. And sometimes that's just what it is. So even then you will clash heads and things, but you got to know how to work through those things too, you know.
I respect it.
People say don't do business with your friends, but I've been doing business with my friend for over 10 years, you know what I mean? So it can work, you know what I mean? Just depending on how you communicate and know how to communicate, you know, so.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, the only people that told me not to do business with friends were broke. All my rich friends told me they exclusively do business with their friends.
Yeah. I mean, even in different cultures, they don't do business with you till they break bread with you, till they sit down and eat. They need to know about you. They need to know your characteristics, your character. Like, that says a lot. When I'm putting money in your pocket, you know what I mean? So I've literally cut people off my collective because they messed up the money, you know? And I give you chances. Like, we still girl, you still my girl, you still my homie, but you're not with this no more, you know? I can still talk to you, we can hang out, but I can't put you on no more jobs. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't show up for this one and that one and this one, and you calling me, you know, so.
That's crazy. Professionalism is a thing, folks. Like, come on now. Not showing up, that's crazy.
Yeah, so business, you know, like I said, there's a thin line between business and the arts, but you have to remember that it all is a business at the end of the day.
That's a fact.
The art is one of the, you know, one of those business that is hard to even put a price tag on it, you know? So.
Right. And it's funny because as an artist, you're trying to get yours today, not when you pass.
Right.
Like, I think a lot of people think Basquiat knew the difference between himself and Andy Warhol, even though he looked up to Andy Warhol early on.
Right.
But he knew the difference between commercialization and what he was doing,
Right.
which he didn't even think was going to get accepted in those circles, but then it did. But I don't think if he was alive today, he would realize that he was trending towards icon status then. I don't think he would have thought that. I think if he was still alive, he would have been like, damn, yo. Because whatever, the timing, culture, the way everything works, he just became the flavor of choice for connoisseurs, people that want to encapsulate an era. I don't know if because he died young, if that added some extra elements and mystique around his work. But the reality is, I don't think he was doing it in the way that Warhol was thinking about it. Warhol was like a corporate thinking artist. I think Basquiat was here for the love of art, and then he got chose and probably didn't even know how to handle it when he was alive.
Yeah.
I don't know. What you think?
I mean, yeah, I feel like he was kind of, because he was more of a street artist that kind of got thrown into that world. You know what I mean? And he was successful early in that world. So you go from being broke street artist to doing the same type of work on canvas. And now I'm making thousands, because his first show, his pieces was selling out for $20,000 a piece. And he was living in the lady's basement whose gallery it was. So. And then he kind of like ran into Warhol in the streets and stuff, and then they kind of had that relationship.
Right.
But I think Basquiat, to be honest, already knew he was gonna be big.
You do?
Because that's what he told his girl. He said, "I'm gonna be big. I'm gonna blow up." Like he already knew that his work was unique in the art world. I feel like.
Okay.
Did he know how to handle it once he got there? I don't think that was necessarily
that
true.
part.
I think he was still young. I think when that rift happened between him and Andy Warhol, when they kind of made him seem like he wasn't his own artist, he was like Andy Warhol's little puppet or little. Right. That's what really
threw him off.
I think, because they was on their A game until those articles started to come out like that, and. That's what separated their relationship. That's what kind of, both of them kind of spiraled out after that. And then not long after Warhol died, I believe Andy died. Andy died, Basquiat died next, right? So, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's kind of because he was job broken from Warhol passing, so I don't think he really came back from that. So, I mean, it's a lot that can contribute to that. And you can say, like, the art world had a part in that too, like
big time
pushing and the demand for his work and all of that so early on, but definitely his death and the way everything happened definitely pushed a narrative and a hype around his work,
right?
Because it's limited now, you can't get any more of it, so that's always going. Anytime an artist goes to if a popular artist, I remember when Charles Bibbs, another popular black artist, had like a heart attack or something, and was like, in a hospital. All his prices shot up on his art, and people were trying to get it because they thought something was going to happen to him, and then he recovered, So you never know with stuff like that in the art world, and I guess you just never know what's going to be big and when it's going to hit. Just like that heart, I never knew that heart was going to take off the way it did, and then Kiana even said that to me one day. We was having a conversation, and she was just like. Like, bro, I've seen you paint a lot of dope stuff, and you got on off of a heart. She was like, the simplest thing I've seen you paint, that's what blew you. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, but I said, Kiana, that's a lesson I learned in college. Economy.
Facts.
Less is more.
Less is more.
Sometimes you can do the simplest thing. And see, I apply a lot of different concepts to my work, even when it comes to that. Like, I thought about, when I did the heart, I thought about images like Hello Kitty, Bart Simpson. Those are billion-dollar images, but they're simple.
Billions,
and it's something that can resonate to a lot of people. One thing is love translates through all cultures.
I know that's right.
There's no color to it.
Right.
So if I put a heart with a bunch of colors in it,
it represents everybody.
Exactly.
That was
so
James.
Everybody can relate to it in that sense. So that's why I get tagged on my heart, and it's black people, white people, Asian, Korean. It transcends all cultures. You know what I mean? So and that's when my boys were like, "Yo, you crossed over."
Right.
That series crossed you over.
Right.
And I was like, you might be right. So sometimes when I don't even be thinking about it, and other people bring this to my attention, which is interesting, and I'd be like, oh, you might have a point, like how a music artist crossed over into you know, when you say you cross over as an artist, you can reach multiple genres of people who start looking at your stuff. And that's kind of what that did. It took me from just being a black artist in that sense of like creating black work, and now this is a body of work that everybody can relate to. But I feel like that was a double-edged sword, because to me it was just like, all right, now everybody just thinks I do this. Like the people that just came onto my work, they don't know about anything before now. Yeah. They don't know about my painting, my old paintings, my abstract series. They don't know about none of that. You know, they just know about this body of work. So I guess that's what made me dive back into what I'm doing now, which is the figurative painting, the American Dreaming series with the lottery tickets and everything like that, and just kind of showing people I do paint. I'm classically trained in oil, so I brought back the oil painting, and so I just wanted to give people a little notion that I can still do that too, you know. But everything is not just hearts and butterflies, you know.
That's real too, man. I mean, because it's like an artist waits sometimes a lifetime for appreciation, and then when you receive it, you're kind of like, don't forget about the rest. Just because one thing got hot. That's an interesting like paradigm with the audience. You know what I'm saying? Because you want them to understand you completely. Right. But they kind of pick apart what might have immediately resonated. You know what I'm saying?
And I think what's wild is I was doing the podcast actually with Zudeka and her husband, and she pointed something out to me. I never thought about this, and she was like, "You do something very bold and courageous as an artist that I see, and I don't really see a lot of artists do this." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "I've seen you create several series that will be hot, and it'll be like, this is what everybody's talking about, and then you will completely abandon it and do something else.
I'll peep that too.
And then that will be hot too." And she was like, she was like, where do you even, I was like, I don't know. I just don't want to get complacent or stuck in a box of something, you know, like I feel like as a creative, as an artist, you have to continue to explore. That's a fact. And push the boundaries of your creativity. So if I'm just going to do this one style of work, I'm not doing that. True. You know, so it's important to, I feel like, have bodies of work kind of like fall into a subject or a matter at one point and then fall back from it and then kind of study something else. So that way you can bring light to multiple different situations in a different way. Big time. You know, so that's kind of what I like to do.
No, I think that's fly, man. Yeah, I mean, for me, that just sounds like passion, right? Like you're so passionate that your brain is constantly working on, like, I'm like that too. Like I'll do a project and then my mind's already working out the details for the next project while I'm completing a project that everybody can see. That's a special art as well, because creative management as a creative is a thing too. Right. Like when you have multiple ideas, a lot of times for me, I got ideas competing with each other to see the light. Right. And I got to manage myself to decide how I'm going to release my children, you know what I'm saying, into the world. Like,
and it's not enough time in the day.
Never enough time in the day. Never enough time in the day.
So yeah.
I want to ask you a question. I mean, I know you're from here, but what makes you continue to want to stay rooted here as an artist outside of traveling to the Art Basels and other markets for events? What makes you want to stay here and keep putting your stamp down in this market and not just go on a road show as Luther Wright?
I guess because I grew up here as well, I never got to see people like myself doing what I'm doing in the community. You know, so, you know, even in the city, I lived in Southeast, I lived in all over the city. I lived in Prince George's County, I lived in parts of Baltimore. And, you know, I've never seen people of color or look like myself doing what we do. Right. So and when I'm out, and to be honest, I feel like I get some of these jobs in the hoods and stuff like that because I do look like how I do, and that's why they put me there, because I can relate to the community in a sense, right? Right. But when I do that and I work in these areas and kids come across me as they're walking home from school or and I stop and engage with them and they see me out there doing it, I think that resonates different for them. You know, I've even run into my, family members and aunts and uncles while I'm out on projects and stuff like that. So even just that sense of community, this is home. You know what I mean? Home. So it's like we're a better place to put your talent and put your gift out. You know what I mean? Like, that's dope. I don't mind traveling and going outside and doing that, but the DMV is home. So I think I'm just comfortable here. You know, with my art, with my community, I think it's a dope artist community here. You know, everybody's pretty much uplifting. It's not like a crabs in a barrel situation.
Right.
And we all striving to just make the DMV a better place.
Big
you know,
time.
as far as the community. And I think, you know, that contribute to our trip to Art Basel when we all went down there and we've seen what the artists there turned Miami into, you know. So we were just like, yo, we can turn our city into the same thing, you know, if given
That's
that
a fact.
platform, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And y'all definitely done that. I mean,
and it's glad that people are receiving it, you know, and
Yeah.
the community's receiving it. And then you see when you have certain art and projects in your community, it changes the vibe, it changes how you know, perceive your environment at the time, you know. And
right.
And I just, and like I really do it too, like the community, it's for y'all, you know, like they come up and they say, yo, we appreciate this, you know, or and just the little comments, I've had people just tear up and be like, thank you. Just simple thank you, you know, and that
That's
goes
dope.
a long way for us as artists, because that's really what we're doing it for. Like, this is not all for us. Like, our gratification is from making the community look better, you know, because we want to beautify things. We want to make things aesthetically look pleasing, you know. So when we could just add that and we have the platform to do that, and then we can also feed our families from doing that, then it's, you know, everybody wins.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I always ask people that just because, you know, I left, came here, this is home for me too. And it's funny because people underestimate the bubble that we have right here. And normally people say bubble, that's like a negative, something that could be burst. But what I'm saying more is the fact that we're fortunate enough to have a, for lack of a better term, Wakanda level existence.
Right.
On multiple levels. It's not perfect. Nobody's a superhero here. But at the same time, we're rooted and grounded in supporting one another.
Right.
And the fact that we're also of color is just a bonus. I lived in LA. I lived in Vegas. I would tell everybody about here. They will all be like, damn, for real, it's like that? Because what we have is so unique.
Yeah.
And the fact that we all still have a chance to like put our paintbrush strokes on the tapestry, so to speak, and stamp it a little different than those that came before us. And the acceptance. Like I said, you got people like me, SP, people who came to here, and we get an immediate love for putting in work back into the game. And that's a beautiful thing. That doesn't happen everywhere. Some places you go and they just like immediately like, oh, nah. But here, they will show love if you're trying to add to the situation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And they can see your passion behind it, you know? Like, I think, like, and I said this on my recent video I did, the DMV appreciates the arts, you know?
That's
like,
a fact.
It's so many different peoples and people in different pockets and sectors of the city, counties that's pushing for the arts, you know. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. And like you said, just at one point in my art career, I did really dive into the political side of it, learning the political, learning the politics, learning where the money's coming from for the arts, right? So I think that's important. Like, I started to go to Maryland Arts Days. I started to work with the Arts Council a little closer. I actually worked with the Arts Council for a few years, you know, so just tying into those different things, learning who's funding what, who, you know, that's all important, you know, because as an artist, if you want to survive in the game, you have to know these things. You got to know what galleries are throwing shows, like what programs are going on. Maryland State Arts Council, like anytime you get into one of their exhibits, you get paid $100. Like it's little things you got to just kind of add up, right? You know, and once you get into those loops, those people start to reach out to you on their own because they know you now. You know, like,
and if you're dependable and your work ethic is
exactly, you know, and then like you said, you never know when little opportunities may just pop up. And that's the one thing about an artist, like, you're gonna have your downs. You're like, yo, how am I gonna pay for this? And then you'll get a call. You know what I mean? And that'll stem from something else you did. You know, so that's why sometimes it's hard to be like, you know, some artists don't want to do something because it's not paying enough, or some artists don't want to do something because the event is not big enough. You never know, big or small, when the opportunity gonna come.
That's a fact.
You know, so you might not, and I always say this, every time you don't want to do something, that's when the opportunity comes.
Boom.
Every time you like, I'm not about to go to this, man. I'm tired. And then you push yourself to go. That's when you meet the right person. It could be one person in there, as long as it's the right person.
Right.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, stay your ass outside, man. The networking is outside, man. I know y'all inside playing with the phone. Don't forget, in person is better than a DM.
Yeah.
Luther, tell the people right now, what's your new series? Where can they see it? Like, what's going on?
My newest series is American Dreaming. It's actually it's all over the place right now.
Yeah.
It's at Gallery Guchert in Chicago.
Wow.
We have some pieces over at Gallery Serengeti off of Central Avenue.
Okay.
I'm actually in the show this weekend with Al Burtz, Jay Dura, Larry Poncho. It's on August 9th at Swag.
Shout out to the homie Jay Dura, man.
Yeah, Jay Dura, that's the OG, you know. I'm doing a show with them. I'll have about 4 pieces from that series in there.
Yeah.
I'm doing a show with Black Art Today in Manassas, Virginia.
Nice.
I'll have a piece. But
Yeah, shout out to Black Art Today. They be turning up, man. They make it happen. Yo, I salute y'all.
Lisa and Alicia
I know
Clark,
your work.
shout out. That's family right there. Crazy thing about them, I met them when they were doing artist interviews. That's how they started.
Oh, okay.
And my boy Blue Robin had introduced
know
me
Blue,
to them.
yeah.
So that was probably like their second or third interview.
Okay.
They came through my studio.
Right.
And after talking to Alicia and Lisa, I grew up with their nephew.
Wow.
So we're like sandbox,
world.
like
Yeah.
boys. Like we
Right.
grew up, neighbor,
Right.
I know his whole family. So they like, oh, you know, so that's
Nice.
how they look at me like like another
Nephew,
son.
yeah,
Basically.
you
So
part of
like,
the team.
you know, and I've been consistent with them, and I shout out Black Art Today.
Big facts.
They've been doing some beautiful things for us in the art world, and it's like organizations like that popping up, man. Like I said, and
Right.
that, like you said, the bubble. We
bubble.
all work together, man, and I
Right.
think that's the beauty of it. It's so many different bubbles. My crew is the Collective Artists. You have the DMV League of Artists. You have
Right.
Art Bay. You have Black Art Today. You have the DMV League. I mean, you have the DMV Artists, Black Artists of the DMV. It's so
Right.
many different groups
Right.
that's pushing the boundaries for art here. And,
True.
It's like I said, it's a beautiful thing that we all can work together, and it's nothing else to really. It's kind of surreal sometimes, right? Like you're like, damn, this is really happening, but yeah, this is kind of like
Right.
your life. You know what I mean? Like when
life.
you think about it, right?
Right.
Like so.
And it's funny because one day you wake up and it happened.
Yeah.
I always tell this to people too. Success never feels like what you saw it in your head as.
Mm-hmm.
When you do it right, it's so natural. It doesn't feel like the movie you painted in your brain
Yeah.
when you was leading up to it. So you could even forget that you actually succeeded.
Yeah, you gotta check yourself sometimes, you know. And I've
Yeah.
even had to do that when times are like tight or things, and then you just gotta remember, like, yo, I'm already living my dream.
I'm living my
I'm
dream.
already in it.
Right.
I've been doing this for 10 years. This is all I've been wanting, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
why am I complaining? Like,
Right.
as long as I'm still doing this, I shouldn't even complain about nothing. So that's what
I'm talking about.
you know. Your perspective kind of changes on things a little bit, you know. And like I said, when you keep that positive mindset and a positive attitude, that's when you attract positive results and
Right.
positive things to you. So just stay
Facts.
positive with what you're doing, you know.
Man, I love it, man. At LW Art.
At LW Art on Instagram, LutherWrightArt.com is where you can check me. I update my website with all events and all my new art releases and drops. I put on Instagram or my website first.
Facts. Yo, you know what it is. Check that man out. Check yourself. You already said? Get it right. You probably living a dream right now. You ain't even know. Now, there's another level. Don't get complacent, but get comfortable with knowing you actually did what you said you was going to do. Yo, thanks for checking us out. We with Louis Reed, man. He got clothes, too. We ain't touch on that. Go get the clothes. Go get the merch, homie. Stop playing with him.
Don't forget
Arts
the
the
clothes.
Nation, everywhere. This man's everywhere. Go hit that website. What's the website?
It's LWArts.design. Nah, I ain't even gonna get y'all that. That's the business.
What's the Louis Reed? The Louis Reed clothing site?
LouisWrightClothing.com
Yeah.
is for the clothing, and then LutherWrightArt.com for the
Yeah.
artwork.
There it is. Shop up. Man, you've been blessed.
We got the online shop. We got clothes in stock at Arts the Nation. So
Hell yeah. Shout out to Rhonda Dallas, man. You giving us places to work. We appreciate you.
yes, sir.
But yeah, man, I'm going to bring you more artist lifestyle. Again, we hoping Luther Wright might come through, do what he do in the Spizzot, man.
We'll be back for sure.
For sure.